Hello and welcome back to another episode of people ruining the reputation of their business for the sake of a little bit of money. It's a very long series on this channel, isn't it? We have spoken about many situations that could go down to that description, and today's video is no different. Now, it is some wedding drama, so unfortunately we're not going to get any comments in this video saying new genre unlocked or anything like that. We're just going to get comments about my headrest and how it makes me look like Darth Vader instead. But this topic is interesting, right? Because in a lot of topics that we talk about, you try and see it from both sides, don't you, right? You're trying to see, like, what is the thought process here? Even the person who is in the wrong, you're trying to see, like, where have they came up with this? But after looking into this situation in particular, I can confidently say I have no idea what the thought process was in the slightest. Now, let me add some context to this situation. So there's two main people you need to be aware of here. The first person being Megan Burry, a TikToker of about 8,000 followers. The second person you'd be aware of is a wedding makeup artist called Morgan Aesthetics, or that's what the makeup Instagram account is called. As you can see, it is currently private because of this situation. Now, Megan has uploaded a few videos on her TikTok account talking about this situation. The first one was actually just kind of like asking for advice. The second one is going through a lot of screenshots and a lot of receipts, if you want to call it that. And then we get an update in the third one. So let's start at the beginning here. So like I said, it starts off with Megan asking for advice due to a wedding vendor cancelling on her.
My name's Meg. I am a 2025 bride and I am looking for some advice regarding a wedding vendor cancellation. If you are a wedding vendor specifically in Prince Edward Island, please comment on this video and let me know what your thoughts are, because I am just truly so disheartened and I can't believe that a wedding vendor acts this way toward a bride that they cancelled on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not a wedding vendor, but I will be giving my thoughts, so let's have a look what's going on here.
So my partner and I are getting married in July of 2025. So in August of 2024, I booked my makeup artist. I was very excited about this booking. I immediately sent her a $150 deposit. A few months later, she sends by a contract that I sign and send back to her in an email asking a few questions.
Okay, seems pretty straightforward right now. I mean, we've spoke about a lot of wedding drama on this channel where people have booked stuff last minute and things that went wrong, and you're kind of thinking, oh, you should have probably tried to book it in earlier, like, because stuff like this can happen. This is clearly something that has been booked far in advance. It's a $150 deposit, the contract has been signed, Megan has sent an email asking some questions, but as we'll see here, she doesn't really get a reply for quite a long time.
She doesn't respond, so in March, I follow up with another email, and I still don't hear anything back. Then just a few weeks ago, I get a DM on Instagram from her saying that she needs to cancel her services for my wedding day because her brother is getting married on the same weekend in a different province, and she won't be able to do my makeup.
Yeah, so shitty situation, right? If you're getting married and your makeup artist had a message you saying, like, I'm not going to be able to do it anymore, I can imagine very stressful situation. But of course, if it was just that, this wouldn't be a video. I mean, Megan even says, like, she understands, right? It's a brother's wedding, fair enough, you go to your brother's wedding, but obviously, I'm gonna need my refund.
She has to go to her brother's wedding. I would never want to keep anybody from that, even if they are a wedding vendor. So I responded, indicating that I am very understanding of the cancellation, also politely asking for a refund of my $150 deposit, since she will no longer be able to offer her services for my wedding day.
Now, this is where the situation completely lost me, and it gets even more confusing when we read through the messages themselves, but Morgan, the makeup artist, actually replies to this, saying that she is not going to be giving a refund.
I sent my response to her on a Wednesday. On the Friday, I can see on Instagram that she has read the message, but I still don't get a response. She sends an official response to me 11 days after I sent my response to her, and indicates that she will not be refunding the deposit because it wasn't a mistake that she made.
Now, as we'll see in a second, the reason why Morgan is saying that she's not going to issue a refund is because she has a no refund policy when it comes to cancellations, which isn't uncommon, right? There's no refund policies with cancellations. You see that all the time. But it's usually if the client has to cancel. You know, that's usually where that policy would be used. You can't just take someone's money, then cancel on them, and then not give them their money back. That's not how that works. Now, I'm sure everyone's curious to actually see the messages at this point, right? So this was actually the video in particular that went viral. This one's on over 1 million views, and it quite literally is just a video going through all the screenshots. So let's start from the beginning. So it starts off with Megan reaching out to Morgan, asking if she's got any, like, availability, to which Morgan's replied saying, I'm available on that date, give some prices. I also have a $150 non-refundable deposit to confirm your spot as well. That goes towards the price on the day of. Which again would be absolutely fine if Megan was the one who had to cancel on the makeup artist, but you can't just, like, cancel and then not give them their money back. Can you imagine that in any other scenario? Imagine going to the shops and, like, going to buy, like, a drink or something. You give the cashier your money and they're like, oh, sorry, actually, we're out of stock on that drink, but thanks for your money. It just wouldn't happen. If you're going to take someone's money, you've got to provide the service, unless, obviously, it's a different fault, you know, like they've cancelled. So we can see in this next screenshot, these messages were from July 23rd, just kind of confirming everything. In the next screenshot, you can see we're August 28th here saying, amazing, the deposit is $150, right? Can send that right along. Yes, perfect, just sent. So she sent the money, then a few weeks later, she actually reaches back out to Morgan and says, just wondering if you sent the contract. So she had sent the deposit before the contract was sent. I haven't seen anything pop up yet, so just wanted to check. To which Morgan says, not yet, I'll be sending out a group of them in the next week or two. And then we see the contract, which isn't really a contract. It just looks like a form with like your contact details. I mean, some things we can see here is that the deposit is $150. This is a consultation form. You've got to sign it, you've got to put like your address and the time of the ceremony and stuff like that. I mean, there's some text underneath here saying, yes, this is literally the whole thing. Nothing else was sent or signed. And now this is where we get to the cancellation. So Morgan reaches out on April 10th saying, hello, I just wanted to get in touch as I received some exciting but unfortunately timed news this past week. My brother and his fiance picked a last minute wedding date after being engaged for many years. And it is unfortunately the same date as yours, but in Nova Scotia, I believe?
Nova Scotia.
Because I will have to travel for it, I don't believe I can make both work. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience of all of this. It was not something we were expecting this year. I did post in our makeup artist group to find a number of artists that still have availability on that date. I will list them here for you to check out. I'm unsure of their cost, but Blank did let me know that she could most likely honor our agreed upon pricing for you. Okay, so Morgan's mentioned that she knows some other makeup artists that could maybe do it for the same price. We later find out that, of course, this seems like it would mean that you'd have to pay that price again, rather than the $150 just go straight to that artist. We can see Megan's reply saying, hey Morgan, thanks for letting me know. Of course, I completely understand how important it is to be there for your brother's wedding. I appreciate you posting this to the makeup page, thank you. I had already looked into Blank, but both are unfortunately outside of my budget. If Blank is willing to honor our agreed upon price, I'd be interested in chatting with her, but her style doesn't seem to quite match up to what I'm looking for. I won't lie, I'm a little disappointed that I'm just hearing from you now when I'd sent you 2 emails with questions, one in December and one in March. Regardless, they won't be answered now. However, since you were unable to fulfill your side of the contract, I'm hoping that the $150 deposit can be returned to me via e-transfer. As I will now need to book another MUA, please let me know if/when you can send that over. I mean, yeah, a very respectful email, right? She says, I understand that you're gonna have to be there for your brother's wedding. Fair enough. She even thanks her for putting like her details in the chat to see if anyone else can do it. She does also voice her disappointment and says, like, there's been a lack of communication for months now. But all in all, not a bad reply given the circumstances at all. Now, this was sent on April 16th, and in the next screenshot, we can see that the next message is April 21st because Morgan didn't reply. Now, this is Megan saying, hey Morgan, I'm sure you're super busy, but I just wanted to follow up on my last message. And then on Friday, which I believe is Friday just gone, we can see another message saying, hi Morgan, I'm getting concerned that I haven't heard back from you. I can see that you saw/read my message last Friday, and I would sincerely appreciate a reply. At this point, all I'm asking for is my deposit back. Now we finally get a message from Morgan here who says, hi Megan, I will be getting back to you. I'm very busy this week and was away for the holidays last weekend. I respond typically to everyone on the weekend as I have multiple jobs. I will be getting back to you when I have a proper moment here. And look, people get busy, right? You might not be able to reply to a message straight away, but when this is already coming after months of like a lack of communication, it doesn't really seem that great, does it? And now this is where we find out that Morgan is not going to be sending the refund back. So there's a message here saying, I responded to all outstanding emails last week from any that were missed. I didn't respond to the March one from you that I had just seen, as I just sent you a message to let you know that I wouldn't be able to work your wedding anymore, and I was away for the holidays. I totally get that this isn't the situation either of us hope for. I just wanted to explain that although I used to refund deposits for situations like this, over time I realized that most other vendors don't, especially with events booked so far in advance. Now, I would guess that this is not true in the slightest. If any other vendors tried doing this, they would receive the exact same response, which would be confusion and anger at that point, right? Like the fact that you're refusing to refund some money because you decided you don't want to do it anymore. There's always a bit of a risk when reserving a date months ahead, which is why the deposit is non-refundable as stated on the contract, unless it's a mistake on my part, like a double booking. I mean, it literally is a double booking, no? I mean, it might not be a double booking in the sense that you've booked like 2 clients, but you're going to your brother's wedding and that's the reason you can't do this. Which is fair enough, right? No one's going to criticize you for picking your brother's wedding over like work, but I mean, you have booked something else, like clearly. And it is quite literally all on the makeup artist. Like, it's the makeup artist's choice, which again, isn't a bad choice, But it is her choice, so she should be issuing the refund, obviously. I completely understand that it's not the ideal situation, but I'm trying to stay aligned with other vendors within the industry and keep things consistent. Again, I don't believe that for a second. Now, Megan ends up replying to this saying, "Thank you for your response. I totally understand that the deposit would be non-refundable if I was the one to not fulfill our contract as your client. However, you quite literally did double book for my wedding day. A double booking means you have two events on the same day and therefore cannot be in two places at once, which is exactly what is happening here. I respect that it's your brother's wedding, but it doesn't change the fact that you will not be upholding your side of the contract and that you've now left me to find another MUA for my wedding day on my own." I mean, look, again, a very understandable reply. In fact, quite a nice reply given the circumstances. "You will not be providing the service that I booked for, so I do not understand why you would even feel comfortable keeping that $150 deposit from a bride that you have left in this situation. I booked you in 11 months in advance of my wedding and you have cancelled on me just 3 months before my wedding. This response is quite frankly unprofessional and inappropriate, and I will escalate the issue if you are unwilling to refund my deposit." Then we see Morgan's reply saying, "I didn't double book a wedding. It's a family wedding I'm attending. I didn't book 2 weddings I would be making money from. So as stated, not a double booking. It is a family event that came up. I've spoken with multiple vendors, including hairstylists, photographers, etc. They have the same policy." I mean, it feels like she just didn't read any of these messages back before she sent them, because this seems absolutely bizarre to me. Like, yeah, again, she didn't double book like 2 lots of work, but she's no longer going to be doing this work because she's going somewhere else for a different event. I mean, regardless, it doesn't really matter what the reason is, right? Like, if you've had to cancel on your client and you've already took a deposit and it's not the client's fault, you should be issuing a refund. Then Megan replies saying, "I'm truly so disappointed in your response and how you've handled the situation. You are still terminating the contract. You cancelling a service for my wedding day that I booked back in August 2024. You were choosing to not provide the service that I sent the deposit for, which is both illogical and unethical. I have been very understanding of you cancelling, but I'm shocked that you feel comfortable taking $150 from a bride that you've cancelled on and will not be providing any services for. I will happily reach out to other PEI wedding vendors with this information for a better understanding of the industry standard, but please note I'll be sharing screenshots of these messages so that other vendors are aware of how disrespectfully you speak to your clients." Then Morgan replies saying, "I understand where you're coming from with the disappointment, and every vendor will have a different policy, but as it's stated on my contract, it is non-refundable. As discussed previously, many vendors I know of have the same policy in this scenario." It feels like she just went up to vendors and said, "Do you have a no refund policy in your contracts?" And they've just said yes, because they're taking it as like, if a client has to cancel, they don't get their deposit back. Like, surely she hasn't clarified that what she means is, if she takes money from her client and then decides, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore, she gets to keep the money. Now we see that Megan sends a few more messages. This is one of them right here, you can pause to read. Another one right here. And finally, another one right here. It's basically kind of like a lot of the same, saying like, this is crazy, obviously. But the next message we see from Morgan is this one saying, "I will not be responding to this as I'm away due to a death in the family." To which Megan replies saying, "I'm very, very sorry for your loss. When you are back, I would appreciate a response." There is also some text under the screenshot saying, "I'm just not sure why she is posting public Instagram stories of her birthday celebrations in the town she's claiming to be away from less than 24 hours after sending me this message." I mean, I didn't see them because it's an Instagram story. Her account's now on private. But what Megan is saying here is that 24 hours after this message, she was in the town that she said she was away from celebrating a birthday. Now, in a follow-up video, Megan goes on to give an update and says that she has now received a message from the makeup artist after posting these videos. The makeup artist has seen the videos. And again, Megan is saying, like, I just don't understand why she would happily take a deposit away from a bride after not providing a service.
After the videos I posted yesterday started getting some traction, I did receive a message from her, which I will insert here. I feel as though I have been very respectful towards her and understanding of the cancellation itself, understanding of her brother's wedding. What I am not understanding of is why she would ever feel comfortable taking money from a bride when she is not providing any services whatsoever.
Okay, so let's take a look through these messages. They might be a little blurry just because I have to zoom in quite a bit, but we can read through them here. "I will not be responding while you and your friends are attacking my page. I had a death in the family and went away, then came back for a birthday, so no, I will not currently respond." To which Megan says, "As I said, I'm very sorry for your loss and would appreciate a response when you are back. I'm a birthday girl through and through. I truly hope you have a great time celebrating. But just so we are clear, nobody is attacking you. You cancelled on me over 3 weeks ago and have refused to return my deposit. As I mentioned earlier in the message, I would share screenshots of this conversation with others so that they are aware of how you speak to your clients. That's all I have done." We then see Morgan's reply saying, "Unfortunately, I've seen what you've been sharing and it's not the full story. I can see everyone commenting on my page, etc. They are attacking and everything is being screenshotted for harassment. I will not respond while this continues." Okay, so clearly she's saying it's not the full story. I would love to know the full story, like what is this extra detail? I guess we're not going to find out because she is saying, like, she's not going to respond. Now, Megan does reply to this saying, I haven't tried to hide anything I've posted from you, hoping you read the comments and learn from this. All I have posted are literal screenshots of this conversation. How is that not the full story? The whole story is exactly what is in this conversation thread, and I am happy to stand by everything that I have said. I've tried to communicate very clearly with you, and you have been nothing but unprofessional in your responses. I cannot control what other people comment or what their responses are to the facts that I have laid out. Then again, Morgan replies saying, as I said, I will not be responding. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what this whole full story thing is about. I mean, we saw a lot of screenshots from these conversations, so unless something very, very key is being left out of these screenshots, I struggle to see what the difference would be. Especially regarding, like, the key detail in the story, right? Like, say if the full story is actually she didn't take months to respond originally, and there was a conversation in between, then yeah, fair enough, okay, that's enough of detail. But if the main detail is still the fact that the makeup artist has took money from a client and it is no longer providing that service and has decided to keep the deposit, I don't get how anyone's opinions would really change in this story. And from the many screenshots that we've seen, it does seem like that is the story. Now, Megan does go on to actually, like, respond to these messages on video.
Now, here's the message that I really want to address, because I want to make it very clear that I have never, ever suggested that she is faking the death of a family member. I did post a screenshot of the message she sent me saying that she would not be responding to my messages. I pointed that out simply to indicate that it's ironic that she's posting her birthday celebrations but has no time to respond to a client who has been back and forth with her for weeks just trying to get a refund. They did message me and say that they will be returning my deposit, not as an admission of their wrongdoing. I am very shocked that she still, after all of this, does not see how she is in the wrong.
Okay, so we do see another message here where she is saying that she is now going to issue the refund. So it says, while I understand this whole inconvenience, the messages I have received since have gone beyond what is acceptable from your family and friends. This has become very inappropriate and is starting to cross a line into something more serious than harassment. I'm returning the deposit, not as an admission of wrongdoing, but because the level of disrespect regarding the situation that I would lie about a family death is absolutely unacceptable. I will not tolerate that level of disrespect any further. This is my final communication. I will not be engaging any further. I mean, yeah, as Megan said, she never actually said she lied about a family death. I don't know if maybe people saw the videos then commented that on Morgan's page. Obviously, the only part that could really seem like that is this caption below one of the screenshots saying, I'm just not sure why she was posting public Instagram stories of her birthday celebrations in the town she's claiming to be away from less than 24 hours after sending me this message. To me, that's just saying, like, it doesn't seem like she is aware. But look, the deposit has been sent back now. In the comment section, Megan has, like, confirmed that she has now received a deposit, which is good. It's crazy that it took all this to get back, like, a $150 deposit, and it's crazy that this makeup artist would want to ruin the reputation of their company for the sake of $150. Now, most of the comments on these videos is just stuff like this, saying, MUA here, been in the business for 10 plus years. I have an extensive contract that I go over with my brides, and if I'm the one cancelling, you will 100% get your money back. That is the industry standard. Yeah, I mean, that just seems obvious to me, right? These no refund policies are in place because if the client cancels, then obviously the makeup artist or hairstylist, whatever it is in this case, would be out of work because they've been booked up with this person who's now cancelled on them. So of course, in that case, you can understand why you wouldn't get your deposit back. That is literally the point of a deposit. But if it's the other way around and you've taken money from someone and then not provided the service yourself, like, of course you have to give that money back. But yeah, either way, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below on everything that we spoke about. I don't know if we're ever going to get a further response and to see what this, like, whole full story thing is all about. Obviously, it does seem like Morgan probably isn't going to respond from what we're seeing here. But either way, like I said, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below on everything that we spoke about. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Also, if you're interested in some other content, me and Emily have a channel where we play games, react to reality shows and whatnot. That will be linked in the description. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, goodbye.